Hey everybody, it's Robert with the Secret Wine Society. Here we give you everything from the wonderful world of wine, including sake. So, 今日は普通と違って美味しいお酒をご紹介します. I'm going to introduce a really nice sake for you. So check this out. This is Daishichi. This is a Honjozo Kimoto. Now basically Honjozo means that this has been milled down to at least 70%. We call that the Seimai Buai. This is actually 69%, which means 31% of the rice has been milled away. This Kimoto, that's what these characters mean. So Kimoto, that is a method of making the moto. We can go into that later, but it makes for a very complex sake. It's the original way the sake moto was made. So anyway, they've actually changed it. This is a very slow process of making it, and it can make for a more robust sake. The Honjozo is telling you two things: that the seimai buai, or the rice polishing rate, has to be at least 30%, or let's call it 70, so 30 is taken away. And then they can also add a little bit of distilled alcohol to bring some of the esters out and make it more floral or just more aromatic. So this is made with a rice called Go Hyakuman Goku. So keep in mind that for sake rice, there's about 100 of them. Yamada Nishiki is the most popular, but Go Hyakuman Goku is fantastic, and you'll learn the differences if you taste a bunch of this stuff. So anyway, the back will give you a little bit of information here on the drinking temperatures, which we're going to do an experiment here and try it warm, which is called, and this particular temperature is called Joukan. And this is called Hiya. So this is a little bit slightly chilled. Joukan is roughly 115 degrees. And I think the alcohol on this thing is about 15%. So let's see what we got here. Now I'm going to drink the chilled one out of this glass. Now you might ask why I'm not using the traditional sake vessels, and we'll get into that in a minute. But for this, I want to see what the aromatics are going to bring. Now, the one thing you'll notice, it's hard to tell with this light, but it's got this really cool platinum glow. It literally looks like liquid platinum. It's a beautiful color. Really nice looking in the glass. So this is going to be chilled. So, you know, these Honjozos, you can, in some cases, warm them up. I can't tell you how high to warm them up. There's personal preference involved, and also each sake is slightly different. So some of them you would not warm at all, like a ginjo, dai ginjo. Some of those you would not warm at all because they're just too delicate. But some of the ones that are Kimotos or Yamahais, I like some of them better chilled and some of them warm, and the temperature all depends on the sake. So let's see what this has to offer. It's beautiful on the nose. It's a little creamy on the nose. It's a little bit of melon. It's super complex. It's really hard to untangle what's going on in here. This is why I love sake so much. Actually, it's probably a little bit below here. There's almost a little bit of like green banana in here. It's like green banana or green papaya, something like that. It's also really creamy. You get that beautiful rice note coming through with the grain, but very subtle underneath the fruit. Oh, that's wonderful. I don't know if I'm going to like it better warm. This is so nice, chilled. Let's try it. Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. There's a little bit of alcohol in the back end. It's a little hot, but that, you know, goes with the territory with these Honjozos. But it's creamy at the same time. You get that kind of slightly ripe, maybe slightly green tropical fruits. It's gorgeous sake. The mouth feels amazing on this. It's actually changing a little bit as it warms up. Man, the texture on that is absolutely incredible. I don't think I'm gonna like it better warm, but let's find out. That's fantastic. I could see that with like a chicken in a creamy sauce, maybe some scallops and kind of a, anywhere where you'd probably use Chardonnay. That's fantastic. All right, so now I've heated this up to what's called Jokan, which is about 115 degrees. That's the Japanese term. They have a term for each temperature range. So we're going to drink this out of the traditional vessel. So this is the serving vessel. It's called a tokuri. And this is a certain type of drinking vessel. This particular type is called a guinomi. It's a little bit larger. I prefer these. The smaller types are called chokos. And those are nice when you're in a business setting, because typically in Japan, you're serving other people their alcohol and they serve you. So when you have a smaller cup, you have more chances to interact with people by serving them the alcohol. But for enjoying this, we want a little bit bigger vessel. Now, you don't have to have a $400 aminoyaki set like this. This is an art piece. I mean, it's functional, obviously we're using it, but this was bought in Japan, and this is very, very, very nice sake set. But like I said, you don't have to have anything this expensive, but I like the earthenware type. I like the rustic type, and I like the nice like earthenware, like the thicker lip on these. We'll get to that later. So typically I would not pour for myself, but I'm going to do that here because my camera woman doesn't have 3 arms. All right. So, and also there's a slight difference. So if you're drinking out of this, you get really good aromatics, but the downside is with this really thin lip, you don't have the same attack on the palate. So I prefer having the thicker lip because, and especially like an earthenware vessel, you literally become, this sounds weird to you guys, but it's totally true, you become one with the sake. It seems more natural to drink it out of this. So at any rate, you would normally like hold it out like this when somebody pours it, and you always sip it before you put it down. But let's try it. Some of the aromatics aren't as, I think, with the heat, not getting as much of the really pretty subtle flavors. But what the heat has done here is it's really fleshed out the palate. In other words, it expands in your mouth. It's a very nice, pleasant sensation. You still get the fruit. There's like an afterglow as it goes into the finish. It's a completely different experience. Like, I do like this. I prefer that for the really getting into like what that sake, like the subtleties of it. But this is actually very enjoyable. On a really crummy day with like snow coming down, you need something to warm yourself up. I mean, it's still got the fruit. But almost now it's like a baked pastry type fruit. And actually, so the finish, with it being warmer, it expands more, and the finish is longer, it resonates more. So both ways, I mean, they're just completely different. I would say experiment with it. When you come buy sake from us, we will tell you, because we've done it, what temperature. So we literally will go through a bottle, take it up to different temperatures, find out where it's really hitting its stride, and then we'll be able to tell you how to enjoy it. So I would say in this case, both ways are probably equal when you weigh everything out. You get a little more of the aromatics out of this. The palate is much better on this. It's got a longer finish being warmed up. Overall, this is a fantastic sake. So This is the Daishichi Honjozo Kimoto. I would recommend this very highly. I would try to heat it. You don't need an expensive set. We can help you find one, or you can ask us, hey, is this good enough? But definitely look for something a little bit wider like this and more of an earthenware style. Anyway, so if you have any more questions about sake, you know who to ask. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. I'm out.